Hi guys, and welcome back to another exciting episode. In this episode we'll be looking at subtropical plants and what you could put in your garden to create a really amazing lush subtropical garden like this one here at Botanic Gardens. There are a lot of good plants in here which Botanic Gardens have identified as star performers, meaning they do really well in Auckland conditions. Auckland conditions are quite temperate, so USDA around about 10B, which means we don't get too many really heavy frosts. And of course in this selection of planting we've got some really cool palms like the Dipsis baroni. We've also got a good selection of Bromeliads and also things like clivias and smaller plants and lush leaved plants. And of course with subtropical plantings it's nice to have a little bit of burgundy in there as well, just to brighten the whole planting up. Flower colour can come from things like the clivias and also variegated rhododendrons, which just give you that extra sort of all-round, so you've got the foliage and the flower colour. So this is why subtropical gardens are so popular in Auckland and in those sort of temperate zones. So we'll take a deeper dive now and look at some of those plants, some of these star performers, so that you can pick them for your garden and design a subtropical garden. So I thought we'd take a look at the plants around this house here to see what plantings they've put in. I'll do my best to identify them, all the different plants. Quite a few are labelled, but some aren't. So we'll start off with this one here. This is the clivia, and this is Clivia gardeni. Looks a popular one is miniata, but you can see it's quite a nice one because it also has these sort of nice little red berries. Great for dry shade. You can see this one here is a bit more in the open space and it's getting a little bit burnt. Now at the back there we've got a Dipsis baroni, that's the sugarcane palm. It's a great small palm. It doesn't get too big and great for small gardens. Okay, so we're going to walk around here now, see lots of the clivia, and then a very popular plant here at Botanic Gardens is this very amazing looking Farfugium, and this is the giganteum, and you can see, look at that, as a glossy leaf. It does have little yellow flowers, but not particularly interesting, but the leaves are amazing. And then we've got a relative to that one. This is the Ligularia, or sometimes Farfugium as well, but it's a variegated form of it, and that is quite nice, and they've used that extensively around here as a sort of border plant at the front. Looking over here, we've got looks like a native fern. This is probably the Asplenium oblongifolium, and that's probably might have just sprouted. You never know, some of these gardens things just happen. Like gardens at home, you might get things that just sprout up. And as we look down here at this garden here, we can see quite a few different ones. We'll start off at the front, and here is one of the star performers. We've got Gardenia fragrant star. There is a flower a bit further up there, which I'll show you later, but obviously not flowering at the moment. Then for something taller at the back of the border, this one here is the Alpinia Zarumbet, so the variegated shell ginger. Not really sure about that one. I think that's probably more of a subtropical plant that you'd have to be a bit careful with, but it's great as a backdrop. And then in the back there we've got, I think that's another Draxinia. I can't remember its name at the moment, but it's obviously giving a little bit of a darker foliage there. Coming up the front border here, we've got some more Bromeliads. Now if you have a look at these Bromeliads, that's the flower, and if you have a look you can see these are offsets. So once Bromeliads flower, they tend to sort of die, but they produce offsets, which is quite cool. Now in the base of that tunnel you can see there's quite a bit of water and leaves. That's how basically these Bromeliads survive really drought conditions. They tend to be epiphytes, which means they tended to grow in branches of trees, meaning they didn't get much water, so they collect the water in those little tunnels down here, which can get blocked with leaves, also can harbour mosquitoes, but then that breaks down and the plant will use it. The other thing with Bromeliads also, and these type of plants, is they basically do a lot of their gathering of their CO2, their carbon dioxide, which they need for food, at night. They're camphor plants, which gives them extra tolerance in hot conditions. I say, okay, so that's the Bromeliads, why they're so cool. And some of the real kind of star performers here is this one here called Hieroglyphica. It's a Varizia, and quite a nice sort of textured pattern little sort of coloured pattern there, which is quite cool. And then we're coming up here, we've got a Strelitzia, which is the bird of paradise. You can see there's the flower over there. Do a close-up of that. And then coming down, we've got the gardenia again, another palm. Not sure exactly what that palm would be. It's quite difficult to identify palms, but we know that one is the Dipsis. And then coming up, this is a real start performer here. This is the Alcantaria vinicola. It's around about 1.5 meters wide by about 1.2, so a huge plant. Have a look down there. You can see the same sort of thing. It's sort of gathering. Now these plants are a little bit more sort of drought, can be quite drought tolerant, but you need a bit of space for them. But look amazing. And then as we come up here, we can just sort of see this sort of repetition. A lot of the clive, you can see these clives are doing a lot better in the shady part of the garden, under a tree, dry shade, perfect. And then we've got some different ones here. Ambrosias down there. Oh, that's a variegata one. And over here, the sort of same. Okay guys, that's pretty much this little subtropical garden. There's a lot, it's packed with a lot of the same plants, but then sort of rearranged slightly different over the gardens in clumps and drifts, and gives you a really nice look, a really lush tropical look for your tropical garden. Okay, so I just thought I would add at the end of this video some other subtropicals that look really cool in subtropical gardens. This one is the Abyssinian red banana that was shot in St. James's Park, but I've seen that here as well. It looks amazing. This one here is a star performer. This is the Alocasia. There's a few different types of the Alocasia. That's quite a nice one. It's a slightly smaller leaf than the other ones. Of course, very popular, the Monstera delicosa, or the Swiss cheese plant. Can't really beat that sort of bold foliage in your garden, and of course it's sort of almost a bit of a climber and just will sort of sprawl over the place, but look amazing. And this one is a really cool smaller plant for the front of the border. This is Philodendron Xanadu. Seems to do really well as a sort of almost a sort of ground cover. And then some of the smaller palms that we have covered in other videos. This is the sago palm, and really good for small gardens and just adding a little bit of exotic look to your garden. You can't really go past the pygmy date palms. They get up to around about sort of 3 meters eventually, but very slow growing. But you've got to watch out for those little spikes, but once they grow up, they form a trunk. And this one is something probably to try in the subtropical gardens. This is the Microzamia. I haven't used too much of this, but I thought that was a really cool looking palm at Botanic Gardens, worth a try. And of course, you can't really go past our own Nikau palm. For New Zealand, it's the Chatham Island variety that works best. A little bit more cold tolerant and a slightly nicer form. Okay guys, we'll leave it there and we'll see you in the next video.